Centi, a former racehorse that was retrained as a show jumper after its career on the racetrack. His third stage of life is to continue as a leisure horse in a loving family where mother and daughter ride him together. The returning rider and 10-year-old Mia still have quite a few problems with this, which Ariane Telgen is now supposed to help with.
Yes, as you can see, the dental practitioner is here. There's a suspicion that he's very sensitive on the left side of the jaw joint, and he often clenches up when there's a bit more pressure from the reins. And now we just want to see if there might be something wrong there. Also because of his physique, of course. And yes, he was supposed to have had dental treatment in August. No, in January of this year. Yes, and now I'm curious to see if we find anything. Or if it'll just turn out to be a routine checkup. Yes, I'm so glad I did this, because quite a few things weren't right at all. And yes, he was supposedly seen in January. Now it's June, and I'm really glad, because I'd already noticed treats falling out of his mouth, and that he can't even chew them properly. And of course, let's just say the horse's overall condition also shows that something isn't right. And so, what exactly did you find there?
Well, here's what we found with him. The chewing angle was set completely awry. It was quite flung at. A chewing angle like that should always be tilted about 15 degrees outward. Then, in the lower jaw, in the middle of the row of teeth, those were the two nines, one on the right, one on the left. They were already forming a mound, I'd say, a kind of chisel. And they've also worn down the opposing teeth. That means it's already a functional anomaly, you could say. By functional, I mean regarding the chewing process. In addition, there were the molars on the outer edges, on the outside. They had been rasped quite well in the front area, but as you got further back, at the 10 and 11, those are the last two molars, they were still very sharp-edged.
Okay.
Yeah. Then there were these pressure conditions between the molar area and the incisor area. There was a massive imbalance there. That means the chewing process, they have such a strong bite that they practically bite down forcefully to grind the feed.
Okay.
And then there's pressure on the incisors because they just can't really work along with it, right?
Could that also be the pressure sensitivity at the jaw joint?
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing, right? That we simply work a certain balance into the dental area so that the jaw joints work freely. If they aren't free, there are problems. And horses simply compensate for these issues through the musculoskeletal system via muscle chains all the way into the back, right? And then I took the incisors. There was a kind of smile there by now. I straightened those out nicely and then checked them. And I could see that the molars and incisors are really harmonizing well with each other now, right?
Yes, great. Super. Thanks.
Good. And hold. Wow.
So, and on this command, they learn to stay standing with me. When I give it, they aren't supposed to move anymore. If they move anyway, there has to be a consequence. It doesn't have to hurt, but everything just takes much, much longer. So, great. So, if he offers himself so nicely right away, I'm a bit surprised now. Right, then I try to make this game very light. On the hand, so he notices, man, when I go down, then my rein connection becomes very soft. Then it's not unpleasant at all. Great. If I put my head up again or something like that, then I do it so that I, for example, take him up more on the inside first and make it almost completely loose on the outside.
Okay.
So that he has no resistance on the outside. And then he's down there. Let's keep going. Come. Exactly. Then I do that for a few steps, and then I do the same thing to the outside as well. You've already done that all by yourself. Great. Right. So that you always check, can I achieve exactly the same thing with less rein influence? Or do I need that rein influence then, if he comes up? Then you have to take him again. Good. Good boy. So what's the feeling right now?
A good one. I haven't actually done anything though.
No,
No, well, I'm already sitting quite differently in the saddle.
it wasn't like that before.
No.
Okay. So something that's very important, for example, is when you pick up a rein, meaning you basically flex him to the inside. The outside rein really has to move forward significantly first. It should be almost slack.
Okay.
This way, you prevent him, for instance, from resisting so strongly. Now, if you want him to go faster, if he's being too lazy for you, then you don't do it every step like now, but you take a leadership position. You want your worker to work a bit faster. That means you do a quick tap-tap. Try out how you do it. Now you praise him. Great. It's okay that he almost started to trot, but he listened to you. Great. So, and then you stop driving him. Don't do anything anymore.
Okay.
If he falls back asleep, you ask him gently first. If he doesn't react, tap, tap. Gently. Eventually, you'll always have to do tap, tap. This tap, tap with the leg, it has to be so that he remembers it, so he doesn't want it again, and prefers to listen to the subtle aid. That's how you always give him a choice. Exactly, and that's where I praise. And eventually, this walk will be saved as normal, and you won't have to do tap-tap anymore. Come on. So you're sitting very upright, you have a great leg position.
That feels completely different.
When you do something with the inside rein,
Yes, I have to give with the outside. Exactly. You give on the outside.
and where you do something with the hand, now you're on the right hand, you also drive more intensely with the right leg. It doesn't mean faster, but you use just a little bit more pressure. And I'm also poking you in your right waist. And you make it so firm that my nudges don't get through. Then you can, look at that, then you can bend them around your body. And that is the kind of tension you work with on a horse. Then you need very little rein. Do you have to pull hard?
No.
Good. So, and if you do that to the outside now, in outside flexion, then you basically shift your seat. Now I'm poking you in the waist on the outside. And you use your outside leg a bit more. Let the inside rein be a bit looser so that it's almost flack. And then he yields to the outside.
Yeah.
So, and this flexion and bending, I always do that at the beginning of the ride a bit more so that I slowly loosen up the whole neck area. Later, it's enough if you only suggest this movement to him. Right? They should just be a little soft in the pull. Super, go ahead and change the hand down. I think the reins have gotten longer.
Yeah, that's also a bit of a problem, I think.
All right, and I wouldn't even focus on everything right now. He can just go slowly for now. The main thing, I think, is to get that hand movement going.
This is at my good side.
Yeah, but it's working very well for him now.
Yeah, but it's just that half of my body, like my right hand, I don't know. I just don't have a good feel on that side.
Okay, let's just get sorted.
Right, exactly. I'm yielding on the outside.
Exactly, outer hand forward, exactly, and there he is.
Yeah, amazing.
And maybe it helps a little bit to imagine, just for a moment, that his hind legs are actually tied to your own butt cheeks with some strings, like you're connected together, like a marionette. Good boy. And the moment he tenses up a bit and resists, you sit deep and really push through forward with your seat, because then you're pulling his hind legs along with you. You're tied to your seat after all. Exactly. Great, then you can praise him again.
Good boy.
If you take both reins and try to hold against him, you have zero chance with any horse. I've also found that if you trot him off nice and relaxed in a bit of a bend and immediately keep playing with that bend, like you are now, he stays down. Otherwise, he stays down for the transition, but then comes up in the next few steps. If he does that, we can try right away to see how you get him back down. So, and now you're giving him virtually no contact? Aha. the fact that Vicky's already got it down like that always helps me, because now he's at a point where I'd get on him too. But at the very beginning, when his spine was sticking out like that. So, and what's going on with Vicky now is she's really got her upper body back a bit and is pushing forward through her groin.
But look how nicely he's going now, right?
So, and that's all fine. We'll get that sorted. It's really just, I think, an internal thing. Right, you notice it in the handling too. Very slow, very careful, and this and that. And actually, he needs to be like this. He should actually be saying, what should I do today? Right, and not, oh, what kind of mood are you in today? Yeah, I'm not feeling it today. When you think he's ready, then you can try to trot him off. And see what you need there. That worked out really well that one time, right? So, and then you just loosen him up a bit, okay?
Yes.
So, and we'll just put this Titamin on right away. For me, it was just important to
know if he does that with her too.
Exactly.
Maybe it's also linked to my personality so that he knows exactly.
Yeah, and I was unsure now whether maybe after the dentist, it was the first time now with a rider back on, right? It's really a matter of technique. You can't just call it up. You have to practice it over and over again, because you can see it's not a lot of strength now.
No.
Right? It's just about saying once, I want this. Then he resists. Right, those are things you just have to keep practicing. The time has been too short for that.
Yeah, well, we still have time.
Right? But those are things that will calm. We've also done a lot. We've already done many other things where I felt that they might be a bit more fun right now for you. So he stayed down nicely there now, right? So now he's going back up. Exactly the same as with you. See? Now he wants to start cantering, right? So she rides right through it, says, what's that all about? So the moment he starts hopping like that, he just wants to evade. So, but he's not skittish or mean or anything like that at all. So with side reins, I wouldn't worry at all. I tell everyone that. Right, as long as it's just to practice that, to practice the seat. So I would then even highly recommend putting side reins on and then practicing the seat, practicing the active seat. And then you can take the parts off and try when he's warmed up, for example, right? That you then say, hey, I'll take them off now for the next 10 minutes. So, and that's the only thing where I tell myself he can do it, so he doesn't have to push you out like that. That would be the point for me where I'd say,
The question of authority?
right? So, because he's doing it.
Yes. And even in the canter, the outside rein stays loose.
Yes, well. Later on, you'll have a light contact there. Great, Vicky. But first of all, it's easier because the outside rein very often prevents the inside position.
Yes.
Right, if you're too tight on the outside, then you pull them and that just doesn't work. And that's why I say, in order to learn that,
Yes.
first I would always give on the outside.
What?
And later on, you can learn how much outside rein I can actually use without hindering the inside position. And that's very, very little. It's almost sagging, as you can see with her. She has contact on the outside now.
Yes.
But she cannot pull him. And it always helps me when I see that. The canter, for example, has become much nicer than the first time. So in those moments too, I practice that with Vicky. When she transitions from can to trot, he gets long and stiff. But if you set him up right during the transition, because you want to ride a circle, it's just a moment and then he's already back down, right? And so those are just behavioral patterns that are ingrained, which you first have to overwrite with a lot of practice and time, right? Super. So, and with these Titamin reins, that's just an auxiliary rein that you can use for trail riding, for horses that might lean on the bit, or that get strong and stiff in the neck, right? Those are dangerous situations in the end, He can do whatever he wants 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And for this 1 hour, you can afford to be selfish. And you can say, please go exactly how I want you to. So now he's back, right? Exactly. I take the reins a bit shorter so your hand comes forward, and there you play with him. Super. So, and then you just try things out a bit. You managed it well earlier too. So, great. Caprice?
Yes.
Yes. Different. Good. Yes, great. That looks super. Maybe change your seat once. Ah. Happens to us all the time, too.
No, surely not.
It's actually important that you always keep this communication with his mouth light, so your hands actually only move by millimeters. That's why it's important not to let the reins slip through all the time, because then the connection, then the communication is lost. You say, hey, I want a canter. And then there has to be a bit of play with the hands, which was already there in the walk and the trot. But that's quite clear. If you could do everything, you wouldn't need anyone. So, now it's important, first of all. Yes. And you basically always have to tell them what to do up there so that the reins don't sag, but that they aren't stiff or stubborn either. So, and your task is actually to always ask him if he's loose in the pole. And he's loose if he follows you to the right with his head when you take the right rein and drive right, and if he would also follow you to the left, to the outside. And I actually check that in principle every other step. Every other step. Every other step. Super, great. So sit back nicely, lean back and stretch yourself out. Push your pelvis forward. Look at that, and it turns into a canter. Pelvis forward, exactly, great job. So, and the only thing that would be a problem now without the Tiedemann is that he would stretch his neck out because you're not doing anything with your hands anymore.
Okay.
Super, excellent. Yes, it's going really well. At the beginning, during the walk, Centi was very cooperative right away, and the owner was quite surprised. In the trot, there were some issues because he just noticed that there wasn't quite as much technique behind it, or not quite as much, well, I'd say attitude. I think mostly it's an attitude you need to have to achieve something, to really follow through with it. And what was the case here is that Centi had been to the dentist, and this is his first time being ridden again. And I wasn't quite sure if it might have something to do with that. So we put Vicky on him, since she knows Centi, just to get him a bit loosened up again. And now we've just, to make it a little bit easier, and yes, also the trail riding. Since that's a big goal, we've used the help of a Tiedemann for now, buckled loosely, just to make it a tiny bit easier for the rider to learn the technique first and sit comfortably. And of course, to take away some of the horse's tension that way, if I can put it like that. Because if they're always resisting so much, then that's obviously not great either. And that's a really nice picture. Centi is very content too. And yeah, I'll keep going like this for now, hoping that after maybe 3 or 4 days, we can manage the whole thing without these training reins. But the nice thing is actually that you're allowed to use these out on the trail too if you want to. And that's why I've just been testing out how the horse reacts to it and how the rider handles it, because that would be another option you could maybe use on the trail at first. So how does it feel for you with this Tiedemann? It's good, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think this gives you the chance to even get into it in the first place.
But the saddle is also completely different. I sit in the saddle very differently. I can already feel it in the canter.
Okay.
It's just that it truly, really carries me along so much more, honestly.
Yeah, it really sits you deep in there.
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly.
Exactly. When he starts to fuss, the Tiedemann helps you, but it doesn't do all the work for you. And because of that, you have the chance to really test different levels. So that once you have him really loose, you can just, towards the end of the lesson, just make it one longer and see what you need to do to achieve the same result. And once you've got that, eventually you'll be at the first hole, and then you won't need it at all. Yeah, it's the perfect weather for what we have planned. It rained all night, and the arena is full of puddles. I'm assuming the cross trail has plenty of puddles too. And well, Centi isn't too fond of going through puddles. That's how things have been up until now. So today we're doing puddle training. We've done it before, of course, but the owner doesn't know that yet. And yeah, I think she was already surprised that he's just trotting through these puddles. And we want to work on that a bit more because I'd really like to go through the water today on the cross trail, and I'm excited to see her reaction. Would you like to have to drive him, Les?
Yes.
Then give him a real wake-up call, and then stop driving him.
Come on.
Yeah, go ahead again. Chop, chop. Now, this is the tempo he should maintain on his own. You stop driving him. If he slows down, give him a wake-up call. He first needs to register this tempo as his new normal. This has to become his base tempo. And your job now is to listen for when he starts to flag. So now when you transition to trot, I want you to feel what's happening inside and see what your core is doing, what your back is doing, what your leg is doing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. It was more thigh.
All right, and what's important now is that you stop again in a moment. And just now, he was very sluggish moving into the trot. Great.
Good.
So whatever you use to start the trot, you use that to keep it going too. Every time you sit down.
Why?
During the rising trot, it's like a new transition.
Yeah.
So you don't just sit down because that's the motion. You drive them again in that moment, as if you were starting the trot from a standstill.
Okay.
Now, work him a bit on the bit as well, exactly the same as you did at the walk. Give him a little slack on the outside. Look at that. Now you've got it. That would be too much work for me, doing that every single step. I prefer it to be easy.
Yeah, me too, actually.
So, and to achieve this harmony, the path is usually quite unharmonious at first. That means this storm, which already feels terrible to you, is what makes him start moving slowly, like a diesel locomotive. This moment where the actual learning happens is when you do something subtle and you decide now how much pressure or how much of a cue he should react to. That is entirely your decision. You just have to teach him that. So you use the intensity that you want. If he doesn't react, the storm has to be such that he really takes off out of shock or explosively. So that next time he has the chance to think, oh, something happened when that light touch came. Then you might have to do it again, but by the third time, he'll listen to the light touch. But if you don't want to do that, you'll be doing it every step. And that's actually much more unpleasant for both of you. Right, and that's why using spurs is often frowned upon, because there are so many people who use them with every single step. And the horse actually becomes more and more dull, because it only learns to tense up so it's not as bothered long term, or they even get calluses. So you say, we're starting to trot, and feel free to trot through the puddle there in the curve. It's not deep. Right? It's also a question of obedience. You want to go through there, so he has to go through there too. So now turn around, slow down, and go through there. If you want him to go through there, you have to tell him clearly. Keep him moving. Exactly. Give him some praise. Great. He just needs to know that you mean it. So, exactly. Keep going. Super.
Great. Well done.
Look, and then you start trotting again and trot through the puddle. If he doesn't do it, stop immediately and go through again. Super. Great. Super. And now see how you get back through here. Woohoo! Bad feeling? Or is everything good?
No, it's actually a good feeling.
Then I would say, ride up one more time, come back down at a trot, slow down here, and try the big puddle.
Okay, good then. All right.
Unless you're afraid of water.
No, not me. Not me.
Yeah, it's working really well. I also think that using the tight amen is a good combination because it just provides more security. Now she's coming down here again, and I'm just gonna say she should ride through this big puddle here. I think she's a bit skeptical, but she trusts me quite well, I think, because she says, what could happen to me? The most that can happen is she just stops. How's it going through the walker? So, good boy, stay right in the middle. Exactly. Super. Good boy.
Can I let him drink right now?
Yes. It can also be a stop like that. Exactly. Just like the one. Some horses lie down. You'll notice if he starts to go down in front, then you have to give him a nudge with the spur. So Conrad always plays too. So good. Exactly. Great. First to get the tree.
So good.
So, of course, we did that with him.
Yeah, I already said it, because water. We were at the Rhine, and there was water. No, just not his element.
Vicky and I practiced that with him on the very first day. Yes, Nadine is on Centi's back for the third time today. We have already accomplished quite a lot, I think. We were already on the cross rail yesterday, and we rode through the water. And yes, today the training continues. And what's your impression at the moment? Is it how you imagined it? Have there been some surprising moments, or?
Yes, I'm quite surprised that you can already ride through water with him on the third day, when he used to always jump to the side whenever he saw even the smallest puddle. Yeah. And overall, he's already quite different to ride. I mean, I have a much better feeling even now.
The two of them are doing quite well, and Nadine is a very loving, gentle owner. She doesn't really want to do anything wrong, and is therefore sometimes a bit too, well, how do you say, defensive? That means she's too soft, too subtle, which people usually say is impossible. But that just blurs the boundaries and the aids that are simply necessary for Centi, so that he really marches forward confidently and doesn't look around and just really goes his way, because fundamentally, he's not easily spooked. And so I think we'll get it sorted out really well. If she learns to be a bit more assertive in some things, saying, this is what I want, and then maybe also enforces this aid just a little bit more strongly. And we're working on that, and it's going quite well. Exactly. He's already reacting to it, right?
Yeah.
So you can already see we've set up 2 small cross rails because I could hear in our conversation yesterday that there's also a wish to be able to jump over small logs if they happen to be lying in the woods. And so, of course, I'd really like to incorporate that into the days we have available here. So, and now comes the new inside hand, and the outside one becomes just a little bit softer. Yeah, super. And your goal is to try that, then see how much rein length is needed to keep him down there. Can I ease off a bit and he still stays there? Or do I need to build it up?
Great. He really needs to be driving.
Yeah, that's the next building block, right? Now you first assert yourself so that he really looks to the left, meaning you have to soften up a bit on the outside. If he drifts too far to the outside for you, you have to counter steer a bit on the outside, briefly. Super, great. To the inside, not to the outside, to the inside. Yes, and just like that, you have him back. So, and on the outside, you check now if you're perhaps too tight. Maybe if it's easier if you move forward a bit on the outside. Super. Have you ever done a 2-point seat?
Yes. Yes?
Good. It's working well too. Would you like to try it? Would you like to do a 2-point seat? Exactly. So, and in the 2-point seat, you maintain this hand movement. Well, you're putting your fists up there too. That's it. Great. That's because when you want to collect him, he first asks, should I really do that? Well, at the moment when you're cantering now, you have to try to always keep contact with him up front and to forbid him from just getting faster. Why? By sitting deeper into the saddle and saying, you stay right here under my butt. Yeah. So, and when you want to transition him down and you take him up and want to transition and he pulls against you, then you can definitely give him a little check on the outside of his mouth. But really, wow, because in that moment, he bites on the bit or puts his tongue over it. And then you can't do anything anymore if he doesn't stop voluntarily. That means you have to convince him to please pay a little more attention to your hands. Are you looking at this cross? Why? And ride towards it. Okay. So, and now take a look. Don't look away again. And ride exactly for the center. Close your leg, sit deep. Nice, give him a good cap. Wait. So, and now continue with the dressage. Change the rein again. Perfect. Sit deep now and ride him into it. Oh, nice. Perfect. Look, he's already bending. Sit deep. Look. Super job. Yeah, great. So, and then you strike off into a canter. Now he's round. Come on to the circle. Try to keep him round in the canger. Yeah. And come over the cross. Try to keep the game going. So, don't let him run. Great job. I think there are 2 sitting there who'd love to trade places with you. They want to jump too. If we look at that, what does that look like? This here has 0 effect. I have it on too. It's sagging the whole time.
Okay.
You're riding with none at all. That's just because we haven't taken it off yet, okay? And you have him really nice and round. And even after the jump, as soon as you transition him to trot, you have him right back there. Yeah, okay. And in the canter, you had him for half the circle too. Yeah, just right after that. I assume that when you drive him forward, and remember what I said yesterday, demand more walk from him than he's offering you. Yeah. Shall we do the new loop in? You don't know this one yet either.
Only from Vicky's video.
I'm not in the mood for this crawling pace. And you can even demand that he goes forward and down.
Yeah.
So then you're busy and he's busy too. Yes, exactly. And when he moves forward, praise him. That's very important. So he notices that when he blocks, it gets uncomfortable. If he moves forward briskly, it's totally great. Super.
Can I just go through the water, Ham?
Yes, you can just go straight through. Exactly.
And keep going.
Great. Now, he probably wants to get a drink first. That was also the reason how we got him in. He was thirsty. Good boy.
Yes, well done.
Great.
Well done. I can go through back there again too, right?
Yeah, you can do that too. So then I stay in the middle.
Yeah, because of the...
Yes, exactly. And that's important to me, even if I'm in different terrain now. Good boy. Great. Super.
Well done. Great.
There you go.
You are brave after all. Come on. That's great.
Great. Let's move forward.
That's great. He's just a 10th. But you say that's normal, and you just have to make sure to drive him forward briskly. So, like I said, I've already gone out with him alone, and everyone said, "You're crazy." But it was what I needed. And I feel like he listens to me when I talk to him.
We have really nice weather for a change. The sun is even shining. And Nadine is already on the horse. Today's task is to correct the lack of forward drive a bit during the warm-up phase because it's really quite extreme with Cetis. And yeah, she has to be incredibly careful now. Whenever he dozes off, she really has to wake him up properly. And then, of course, praise him. Yeah, and anyone who's done this before knows that basically after 3 or 4 steps, a horse like this always starts to fall back asleep. Extremely annoying, but it looks very good. I've already seen that she's taken up the reins. Then the whole problem becomes even more obvious, of course. And now it's just a matter of being mindful, being attentive, and reacting quickly. And then we'll see what else we can do today. So it's exactly the same as when you take up the reins and establish contact with him. He has to chew low. If he doesn't do that, it means being consistent, outside leg, bam, 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 bam. So he doesn't push in there and only stop when he's moved away. Do you want to go at a working trot like that?
No?
How would you like to go then?
Much faster.
How brisk should he be? Make him as brisk as you want him to be. So now you stop driving, don't do anything anymore. As soon as he slows down the pace, like now, thunderation, 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 but really do it. And now you praise him again. Now you praise him again, stop driving, he's fallen asleep again. Stop driving, stop. Exactly. Look, fallen asleep, chop, 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 and then praise him too. And when he goes that briskly, it's also much easier for you to get him through the pole. So you can wake him up again. Come on, Thunder. Yes, indeed. And the moment you wake him up, you shouldn't break him in the front.
Okay, so that means I have to give with the hand in front.
And that means you push the hand forward just a tiny bit, but still continue the hand aid for the flexion and bending. Keep your toes, your heels away from the horse, and only put them back there if he falls asleep again. And otherwise, you ride without spurs. Exactly. And is he still going at that diligent pace? Aha, look at that. Give him some praise. So, right. So it's a question of your concentration then, that you really sharpen your focus on when this pace starts to slip away, even just in thought, like now. Now, he shouldn't even get to the point of falling back that far. Fine. And don't forget the praise when he does spurt forward. Super. Look, now he's offering it all on his own. And then you can also ask him to canter, and you try to keep him like that in the canter. Now you know how you have to do it. And as soon as you notice he's fallen asleep again, give him a little nudge right there. Great. Sit right down in there and push him forward. And now make sure that he doesn't transition down. That's it. Great. And then you just trot straight out and try to get him round again every now and then. That means you have to imagine your bend. I think this is a really nice way to wrap things up for today. It worked out really well. The trot, which was a huge problem before, it's a bit harder on the left hand, but she can do it. She's managing. And I think that's really great. And even now, some progress in the canter where he's really relaxing into it. As a former racehorse, I can imagine that memories naturally come back to him from time to time, and they just resurface. And I think Nadine is learning very, very quickly how to get him through that now. Because this is only the 4th time riding him, I think, and there have been quantum leaps from the first time to now. And now, hopefully, they'll be coming out from the forest passage back there soon. And the task was to try and keep him round in the trot so that she has the ability to really collect him if he gets distracted out in the field. Now she's just letting him walk past this and seeing what happens. Good boy. Great. Super. Look at that. Not interesting anymore. You can come back now. Transition down once and come back. Now you really want to test it, going all the way to the back. Obedience test times 10. Now she has to assert herself. You stay on the pass. He's ignoring your leg then. Now just come to a stop. Good. Good boy. Exactly. Didn't just come over here.
But I had him round.
Yes, the whole time.
Yeah. Do you have a camera somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah, no. I mean, hidden back there in the woods. But I really had him.
Round. Yes, there are little mini cameras everywhere.
So we've already made a lot of progress during the days here. I can ride Centi round in the trot by now. And I feel like the question of authority has been settled a bit between the two of us now. Yeah, and out in the field. Just now, I was able to ride him round for the whole lap. And yeah, overall, really, he's gone through the water now. He's made a lot of progress now that we couldn't make before. And at least I know now how to behave when he's afraid of something. Or if he's being lucky, how to best get past it without stressing both of us out.
Is there anything else before you head home that's still on your mind that we could maybe work on that would be helpful? I know Mia rides him too.
Yeah, so that she can control him better in the canter, so we can help her one more time so she can set the pace.
Yes, I'll definitely be getting on Centi myself. During the days he's still here, and I'll keep working with him. Ultimately, it's your job to keep training what we've achieved in the canter so that it's easier for Mia. Yes.
Exactly. We'll try that. Great.
Super. Then we have tomorrow left. Do you have a specific wish for tomorrow? Something you'd like to practice? Jumping is great. Cross country was also great.
I'll let myself be surprised.
Just
Once. Just to deepen that as well.
yes.
I just think that using the whip is difficult for me to handle because I still have to concentrate so much on my hands. When I have the whip, I also lose the feel for the reins on top of that. That really made it difficult for me sometimes.
I believe that. There are many people who really like riding with a whip. Personally, I don't do it because just having the grip and that weight in my hand makes me feel relatively stiff and blocked, and I can't handle things as well. And when you really try to encourage them, even if you're capable, the hand always tends to pull back. If I do use a whip, I use a very long schooling whip, so I don't have to move my hands at all, and the lash at the end reaches the horse. And personally, I like working with spurs. Of course, you have to be very careful with them because for someone who's used to driving every single step out of the horse, and that's what happens with spurs. The horse quickly becomes dull, and you get the opposite of what you want. When you first brought Centi, I initially thought, well, I'm curious. Not because the riding was bad. I thought it was really good, very gentle. But it's always difficult for me when I see that a horse requires a certain, perhaps initially firm discipline. It's always very hard. How do you explain that to an owner who actually wants harmony and desires that softness? And that's always such a difficult thing. But if you do it, you'll have harmony afterwards.
I was just going to say, is that wrong about the harmony?
No, but I always say,
Really?
truly, the path to harmony is usually quite disharmonious. First, everyone needs to know where they stand in this relationship and who has to do what and where you can trust each other. And once that's there, and a horse ultimately trusts you when it sees you as a competent leader, then it puts its life in your hands. And then the harmony is there. After yesterday's riding session with Nadine and Centi, there was still a bit of a desire to change something about the responsiveness, because he's actually moving forward quite sluggishly. Well, and now I'm getting back on him this morning to work on that a little bit more. He's responding to it really well. And I really have to say, he's very light in the front. So that's a really huge difference. The only thing is that he sometimes still leans on the inside hand, parks himself, the one you're riding on. And that naturally makes it difficult for an inexperienced rider to just loosen him up again in the pole so that you can really turn him if you want to, or just transition him into another gait. Because if he gets so stiff or holds himself like that in the front, it's hard to get through to him. What I'm doing now is a bit of leg sensitivity work. And that means I'm doing some turn on the haunches and some lateral work. I don't think he's ever done that before. He's still responding well to it. Of course, not 100% correctly, but that's not what I'm after at all. Ultimately, I want him to learn to yield to the leg. How he does it doesn't really matter to me for now. It just needs to be easy enough that he'll do it for Nadine too. So I don't have to do anything for this walk. If he now, well, I'm just doing the normal weight shift with a little bit of, now he's following the fleet. Forward. Now.
That was actually the rocket you just saw. He just went right along with it, you know, without any hesitation.
Air. I'll leave him alone again. So I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Good. Except for this weight shift. If he falls asleep on me, I can of course give him a nice little nudge. He didn't react to it earlier, so I'll do it more firmly. Now, we've been standing there and he's back in a slumber mode, so I had to do it a bit more firmly just now. What I tried earlier was to pick him up without him really bringing his head up. And he's very, very light in the front. You wouldn't even suspect it. No.
Because he always gets so stiff.
I'm picking him up really lightly here now. The rein is almost slack. And I'm just telling him a tiny bit here. Come on, I'd really like you to put your head down. I'm pushing him forward a bit now, of course, and he's right there. That's good. And the rein is actually, that's good. So now he'd like to slow down a little bit. But he's just reconsidering that again. Now I'm doing a little something with the inside leg because I'd really like him to bend and also move out and not toward the center of the arena. Right now, he wants to head for the rails, so I'm using my outside leg to move him away from it again. Okay, now I want him to bend here. He's doing it. Pushing toward the rail now. I don't want that. You should go over there. Good. That's a good boy. So that means if I notice him pushing toward the rail or if he gets stuck in this inside position, then he's just holding his head there and you can't do anything else. And in that moment, you really have to work a little bit with the outside leg and the outside hand. But it's very, very light up here in the front. So the more I pull, the more he actually pulls back. Now he's reacting too slowly for me here. Quick, 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 quick. Good. Well done. Click, click. That's good. Good. Now I want to let him drift outward. I'm doing that on purpose. But now I'd like him to drift in the other direction again. It's taken too long for me. And I'll keep going. Good, fine, until he reacts. Now I want to go back. Oh, that's really nice to hear. I'm glad you shared that with me. It sounds like a genuinely good thing, and I appreciate you telling me about it. I'll do the same thing at the trial. Outside leg. That's nice. I'll be inside position. And if he drifts toward the rail now, then I need the outside leg just for a moment, but he already knows that now. Okay, you just keep going for now. So when are you going to do it? And what I'm doing first is that I'm just keeping him very, very light and loose in the front and trying to get a bit more trot, lap after lap. Great, super, you're doing that wonderfully. That's nice. Come on, forward. I don't want to lose this trot again. Come on. So that's quite nice when he's really pushing from behind. Now he's getting a bit stuck on the inside again. So I have to get back into the outside position a bit. Then he really has a moment of suspension. Super. Stay relaxed though. Yes. You don't need to go into a canter. You're doing great. Excellent. You've still got the reins quite long because first I want him to move forward. That's nice. Whoa, whoa, hold on. Yeah, I'm really pleasantly surprised by Centi. He's doing really well, and he's also very eager to learn. What I'm noticing a bit is when things get routine, a bit of boredom when you're riding a really long side and don't ask anything of him, then it's like his brain just switches off, falls asleep, and then you have to wake him up again. And I've actually been doing it so that I'm asking something of him the whole time. Then he's really engaged in it. It's naturally difficult for an inexperienced rider to do something like that. And although Nadine's seat is really beautiful, it's about body tension and technique in the right places, which then leads to needing very little aid, very little rein aid, very little leg aid. And I think that's really an art of riding that just develops over the course of many years. And that's what we want to work on. Yes, and you can wake him up a bit more. Come on, if he doesn't react, he gives a little bit of encouragement. Just come back down here, then you'll do the whole arena in a moment. And off we go. Wake him up. Then you just have to stop him. Don't pull against him constantly, but loosen up again. Sit up straight. Sit up straight. And put your hand forward again. And loosen up your hand. Just play with him. Look, then he's immediately there. Then he won't brace himself either. He only braces himself if you pull him. But if you play with him, play softly, then he won't do that. Great, look at that. Then you'll get a really nice canter. Great, keep him engaged between your legs. Perfect. Now that's what riding looks like. What'd you do during the transition? Did you stay back in the seat? So let's canter again. Okay, and for the transition, you need to focus. Lean your upper body back and focus on making sure it stays there. And when you pull, you can already tell he doesn't like it. You have to ride him with your body, ride with your leg, and ride with your pelvic floor. And with your hand, you're just playing. Yes, stay back. Great. Now you're getting a 5-star task. I want you to, somewhere now, if we don't manage it today, that's fine. Canter from a lot. First, you have to move forward. Otherwise, he won't soften his jaw. Right. You can be a little firm with that. Don't saw. Not so hard with the hand. Sawing hurts him, moving the hand back and forth. Exactly. Just keep the hand steady and work only from the wrist in place. Look, then he's right there. Go ahead and do it again. And next time, focus on keeping your upper body back and bringing your seat firmly into the saddle. And imagine you want to push the whole saddle forward onto his neck. And then really give the canter aid. Push it through him and keep it held until he strikes off. If you notice he's not doing it, you can use a tiny bit of the inside spur. The hand is nice and relaxed. You're coming right back with your upper body and engaging. And imagine, yes, 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 great. So, and now you know what you need to canter from a walk. And exactly that tension, that's what you need now for every stride. Well done. Okay, and keep up that power now. Fit right into it. It might just be that you need more outside leg to get him to the center of the arena. I'm really satisfied and also proud because Nadine did a really, really good job. It was a very nice canter and even cantered from a walk. I wouldn't have thought of that 4 days ago either. I was really good. Centi is, of course, a bit of a rascal because without the Tiedemann reins, he really tests her hard and gives Nadine very little chance. The Tiedemann is buckled very loosely, basically zero effect, so to speak. It's working anyway. Maybe it's also a mental thing for Nadine. And yeah, Centi reacts very subtly to body tension. I just noticed that a moment ago. When you've got him, you can really ride him with 2 pinky fingers and do the rest with your leg and waist. And that's actually really pleasant. And you'll get there too, I'm sure of it. Centi and Nadine are already warming up. Today is basically her last day, and then 3 days for Mia and Centi will follow. Mia is Nadine's daughter. She's also 10 years old and will then have 3 days of instruction on Centi so that everything goes well at home too. And I've decided to set up a few tasks here today where we need to practice getting Centi to transition down precisely so Nadine can keep working on that core tension we started on during the last training session. The beginnings of going into a canter from a walk. And I'm just going to refine that a bit more today. And then I'll see if we might even venture onto the cross trail. Maybe canter on the right rein, left rein, and see what happens then. It's okay.
Hey, I just feel like I'm leaning forward so much right now.
Exactly. Try to bring your fists up higher. So bend your elbow joints more. Even more. Go ahead. Just a little bit more. Like that. So that you can sit up comfortably. And when you're up there with your hands, come back up. Then it's also more comfortable for him because you're simply working in the fleshy corners of the mouth. So, and if you had to position him now, you could also move your hand better to the side and upwards. Move your hand. He's basically allowed, because you're not telling him otherwise, he's allowed to go however he wants. That means you ride him forward, still positioning him inward and outward, and don't go half strength up front, but tell him, come on, you're actually supposed to chew down deep, my dear Centi. And don't hang yourself in the side reins here. Exactly like that. Loosen him up, set him up, use your leg, and tell him once what he has to do. Exactly. Great. By relaxing your wrists, squeeze your pinky finger a little bit. We have a difficult task to fulfill. I'd really like Nadine to get to know the aids for the turn on the haunches and also get to know the tension in her body in this lesson, because I simply believe that you can achieve a lot with it, whether it's in the canter, riding through the corner, and also regarding flexion and bending. You'll learn a lot through it. Getting to know the tension that you need. Therefore, it's important to me that we just maybe manage to do that now. Outside hand, outside leg. And on the left, you close them up a bit here. Outside leg. Yes, look at that. Now he just can't go any further because you're not showing him the way on the left. Okay. That means limit on the outside, release slightly, show the way on the left. Limit on the outside again, release. Show the way on the left so that he knows where he has to go. So the flexion and bending remain. You only add, but without pulling, but you only add the outside hand, outside leg, outside waist.
Wow, that's difficult.
Play it light. You just did it. You mustn't give that up again just because you're adding the outside hand. He stays here on the inside. He stays here on the inside. He stays here on the inside. You only catch him slightly on the outer half of his body. Yes, look at that. Keep riding, keep riding, keep riding. Super. Great. Depth maintained. And then it just becomes a mess with the hand at.
Yes, of course.
But it's important that you even know how it works. Yes, indeed. And you know where you're going. Superbly done. Transition to trot. And you want to trot. You don't want a flailing canter. Look there, look there, look there. Your legs are telling him it's only going across. Yes, transition to trot. So now it's through the cones over the last cross. Make him round again. Do you notice he's bracing himself? You either have to take hold on the outside or you do a circle. Yes, indeed. Great. So, and now you canter off once more and go on to the circle. Without jumping, but I want to have the canter that he gives after the jump. Hence, some between your butt cheeks. Lean back. Lean back for me, please. Yes, just like that. Perfect. Yes, we have achieved a really great deal. I think more than expected. Nadine just couldn't be dragged away from the cross trail here. She really galloped and also trotted lap after lap. And also, I'd say the tasks on the riding arena. I'll give her some guidance on that, because that's how you can simply learn to focus on things. And you really notice with these tight, consecutive lessons, whether you always have your horse on the aids, whether it's focused on you or not. And just like here on the cross trail, where tree trunks are really lying to the left and right, or the water, or even when a person walks along the side, you just have to have your horse on the aids to simply not run the risk of it getting spooked by certain things and you unintentionally falling on something, running into it, or even losing total control and the whole thing just becoming way too fast. And that was really great here. They did everything. And yeah, I'm super proud of the two of them. It's really not just the path of the horse chewing forward that was established here, but also a lot of a nice leadership quality has emerged. Nadine just knows, man, always letting the horse decide, or always just being nice. Doesn't really help either. You also have to say sometimes it doesn't work like that. And she's doing that really, really well. And I think it's very difficult for people who just aren't that sensitized to it. They have to learn it the hard way. And she's doing a great job. I wouldn't have thought we'd have such a round here now. Really great. And exercises like that, you can really set those up at home. You
Just do it at a trot and then go over it.
And that's also how you notice if you really have your horse under control. If you pack it tighter and tighter, you have to react faster and faster. That's different than if you're just riding around somehow and ultimately don't even know if it would work in an extreme case. And you can see there, it wasn't that difficult, but it's difficult enough. And especially off-road, how often can a tree trunk be in your way that you have to go around quickly? That looked really good just now. He was also really nice, round and all that. Your heels were great, away from the horse and the canter. Really, really good. So no accidental poking. Really great.
Yeah.
You can drive home with peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, one way or another. I'm already a little wistful that it's already over.
Wistful about leaving the horse here or leaving the child here?
No, Dad, I have to go home too. Now, I would have stayed longer too. You would have had me on your hands a bit longer if it had been possible, but unfortunately it's not. That was my last ride here today. I'm already a little sad that I have to leave again today. Today was the first time I did several jumps in a row, even if it was just across. But I had a lot of fun, and it just gave me some new input on what I can practice at home. And yeah, I'm just totally thrilled with this place, and with Ariane and Stefan, with Vicky, and everything else that goes with it.
Yes, I'm handing over to Mia now. Mia, how old are you?
I'm 10.
10. And is that your horse, Centi? Yes. And your mom's, I think, right? And do you have problems when riding Centi?
Yes, well, he's very fast at a gallop.
He's now?
And then it's just hard to slow him down because he pulls so much, and yeah.
Okay, and what are your plans for Centi? What do you dream of being able to do with him one day?
Go for a ride.
Go for a ride, yes. Then you have to be able to brake him properly too, so that he doesn't just get faster, what do you think if I just accompany you with the lunge line? Then you don't have to be so afraid, because I think if he starts running like that and you can't stop him at all, even by pulling, then I'd be afraid, even as an experienced rider. Is it the same for you?
Yeah.
See, then let's do that. Instead, you imagine you're doing it so that they come together in the middle. Push through his belly. We have heels. Then let's go. So, and now you make sure that you don't hold him too loosely, but you notice he's already relatively lazy. But you don't hold him too loosely, because otherwise you can't steer him at all. Instead, you take the reins a bit shorter. Exactly. You can take them even shorter, so that you always feel the corner of his mouth a little bit in your hands. If you don't feel anything at all, then you also know that the rein is too loose. It's like a little telephone line, your reins. If you don't feel a tiny bit of resistance in your left hand and your right hand, a tiny, tiny bit of pull, then he won't understand your language either. Exactly. And then you speak with the right corner of the mouth, very lightly. And then you speak with the left corner of the mouth, very lightly. Now you're watching closely, you're talking a bit with the left one. Look at what's happening now. You notice that? Yes. And you don't have any auxiliary reins on now. It's buckled very loosely. There's no effect. Yesterday it was on 3, now it's on 2. So look at what your hands are doing when you start to canter. Do they stay out front, or what do they do? You go like this. Give it a try. Try to canter again. Ah, look, now you focused on it, and now he started to canter. You just didn't keep driving him forward. So then try to keep driving him forward. And canter, now you gotta drive him. Now you gotta drive him. Now you gotta drive him. And exactly, and drive, and drive. Look at that, great. Yes, Mia did that really well. Centi too. I think the problem we've actually already found, which is that Centi really reacts strongly to a stiff hand, and we just tried out really letting the reins go loose for a bit. And I told Mia that she only needs to feel the corner of the mouth slightly through the rein, and that she should talk a bit to the right, talk a bit to the left. And that worked really well. Yes, and what the further training will ultimately be is that Centi and Mia can't always have these loose reins, because simply Mia also has to steer and also has to stop. And that's what the reins are used for, after all. And we'll practice that tomorrow, for example, on the lunge line, doing trot halts. So you'll learn the tension you need in your upper body and legs, because then I think it won't be a problem at all. And we'll be met. What do you say to that, Mia? Do you agree with that? Did the canter go well just calm? Yes, and it was fine. It was fun, that's nice. Then you want to close both fists very tightly. You don't have to pull your arms at all. Yes, okay? The most important thing is that you tense your stomach and your thighs and stay on, and then make both hands firm. And close them. Oh, you forgot your stomach there. So, and now imagine when you pass the pylon, there is hungry monster. So you have to stop before that, no matter how. Stop, stop, stopping. Very good. Try again, so the monster doesn't eat your horse's nose. Ah, look, great. That worked really well today. The canter too. Mia is slowly learning to grip a bit more energetically and also to become looser with her hands. That worked out well. And what I think is really great is that she's already been sitting very actively with the horse. During the sitting trot, that was really good. And now she's trying her own way alone without Campino as a lead horse. And she's riding alone here on the cross trail. And I'm curious to see if she'll go through the water now and if she can get Centi through it like that. So let's take a look. Vicky, are you staying at a mark? Duh. Yeah, that's okay. From Campino. Campy wants to bell boop. It's in the water. It's lying there in the water. That's just, I honestly don't even know what to say. It's one of those times where you're so surprised you can't even find the words. I'm really at a loss here. It's just unbelievable. Seriously, how do you even react to something like this? I'm honestly stunned. No.